All right, everyone. What is going on? Happy Friday. First off, happy Friday. Yes, we are here. The thumbnail for this live is a bit chaotic. I did get some tea right before I jumped on, and there's more to come, but I will discuss some of that tea on today's live. We're going to jump into a couple of things. Yesterday, I told you guys about PK being on the Bravo Hot Mic podcast that Alex Baskin hosts. And, he brought up the whole situation around how he didn't appreciate Dorit saying these things about his alcoholism and painting him in this light, blah, blah, blah. But there were some additional things that I went back and listened to the full interview, and there was a couple other things, little nuggets in there that I wanted to update you guys on. I also want to discuss Shay. We haven't talked about her in a while, but she has finally addressed the James Kennedy of it all. Okay. This is so messy, but it's also, I have so many questions, not for Sheena so much, but just in general, right? Because it's a bit odd how we're just not speaking on this at all. So, anyways, we're going to get into that. And yeah, there's some Potomac pregnancy drama. We have a lot to discuss, like I said. So, let's just dive right on into the show.
We need to talk about this. Every rumor, every twist on the JoJo Says podcast. We need to talk about So hit that play, stay in the know. JoJo's here to steal the show. On the JoJo Says podcast, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this.
All right. Yes. Where do we begin? Let's start with Potomac. I feel like that's very fitting. Potomac. Pregnancy drama. Well, you guys, I don't know if this is going to be shocking to any of you, but I wasn't shocked. I actually think this is just a lot of mess. But the pregnancy drama is surrounding not a full-time cast member. No. If you've been sleeping under a rock, Jacqueline, who you may know as Mia's friend, the messy friend that is who I call single white female. Okay. She really wants Mia's life. And she's pregnant. And amazing. Congrats to her. But it seems that the word on the street, as Giselle would say, is Jacqueline, you're not telling the full truth about who the father of this child is, right? So let's bring it back just a little bit. You may or may not remember a couple, like earlier on in the season, I recapped one of the episodes and I mentioned, because there was a scene where Jacqueline comes over to an Airbnb that Mia and Ink booked so that they could have, I guess, time alone with the kids and whatnot. So they invite Jacqueline and her ex. It's her baby's father to her two daughters. And so we see him in the clip, and then we find out recently Jacqueline is pregnant. Now, this guy, this ex of hers, he had like 24 counts on him. He was a police officer in the DMV. And so some years back, he was let go for whatever reason. 24 counts was the reasons why he was let go. So, I'm pulling that into context because Jacqueline has made it seem as if though he is the father of this, what would be her third child, right? And which is fine. I mean, that's not out of the ordinary. A lot of people do that. Like they, and I get it to some extent. We've seen the Kardashians do it a lot too, where they won't stay with the father, but they will continue to have their children with the one person, even though they're not together. So I know there's different ways of having family, so I didn't look anything into it. But this morning, a birdie on the streets of Potomac called me because this gentleman that is Jacqueline's ex, he is private on Instagram, nor do I follow him, so I wouldn't have seen it anyway. But this birdie in Potomac, she did see it because she is actually following him and can see his stuff. Well, this is where it gets messy, you guys, because Jacqueline, she's just a mess, right? I think watching the show, we can tell that she's a mess, but this is just embarrassing to me. But I'll just pull up his Instagram post, okay? So this is Jacqueline's ex, who I told you was let go from the police department he was working with at one point because of 24 different charges and whatever. But anyways, he wrote very simply, picture of him and his two daughters, and it says, "I'm not sure where these rumors are coming from. I only have two beautiful daughters, and I am not expecting a third." Okay. So that in and of itself is embarrassing, okay? It's embarrassing because for whatever reason, okay, this is, and I'm gonna tell you what this birdie told me, which is gonna blow your mind. When I recap the show and I go hard on Mia because of the way that she's behaving and bringing her kids into it, and I think a lot of you guys can also agree with me here, it's not healthy. It's just not. And it's traumatizing. It's going to affect them in the most negative way, I promise you. And I'm not wishing it upon them, but there's no way that those children are going to grow up, watch that stuff play back, and then look around and think anything other than resentment for I would be angry. You embarrass me as a child and I don't even understand what I'm doing at this point. Like that's the angle I'm coming from. So to go back to this Jacqueline situation, I just showed you guys that her ex is saying, "That's not my kid. I have two daughters. That is it." Well, the birdie told me that there was a party recently and Jacqueline was discussing that she actually met some other guy, I guess, and we'll call him Eric as of right now, because that's the only name we have. But based on the information, the gentleman that Jacqueline's allegedly pregnant by, his name is Eric, and he's I've asked a few questions about who, this guy. He seems to be a mover and a shaker. He seems to do pretty well for himself. And the word on the street is that Jacqueline knew that, and that's why she wanted to take a little rumble tumble in the bedroom with this gentleman because she was thinking they could build something together, right? Finally, I can maybe have some of Mia's lifestyle without having to hang out with her all the time, Like that's what was going on in her mind. Nonetheless, I found out that this gentleman, Eric, was at some function because I hear that he's a socialite, so he all the big events here in the DMV. But nonetheless, he was at a party and he was chatting with people, and they, I guess, brought this up to him. I don't know how it came up. All I know is that the person told me they were at this party, and this gentleman, Eric, was very clear in saying that basically Jacqueline's going to be raising the baby on her own because he had no intention of getting serious with her. It wasn't like that. So, this is messy for her. But also, the reason why her ex even found out about this, you guys, allegedly, is because one of the daughters allegedly heard Jacqueline on the phone discussing this in great detail and then went back and told their dad. And so, of course, the dad was like, "What? No." So all that, and Jacqueline still doesn't have a flute. Potomac is tanking this season. I mean, I thought last season was like womp womp. This season's like, what are you guys doing? What is going on over there? Mia's gonna have center storyline? Because I mean, yes, I think most people thought Karen was gonna be the center storyline, but I knew she wasn't going to be because she wasn't gonna be able to talk about anything. So what do we really have here in Potomac? And I know a lot of you guys have tapered off from watching. You guys have tapered off. I'm struggling. Honestly, I know we have about, I think, 7 or 8 more episodes left. And I did get word that they will be filming the reunion for Potomac in a few weeks. So that should be interesting. I also heard, and this is just a rumor, but I heard that a few days, they're planning, Bravo production, they're planning on picking cameras back up shortly, right after the reunion films, because they want to be able to film around when Karen goes to get sentenced on January 29th. That's the word on the street. So, you know, at this point, all I know is at the reunion, Karen will be able to divulge a little bit more, because obviously the verdict is now out. Unfortunately, the body cam footage is also out, which, you know, not to go back to that, but to me, it's like, did we need 4 videos, guys? Like, I think the one video would have sufficed. Okay? 4, it's excessive, and it's clear we're making an example. You know, Lori, I would hope that she could talk a little bit more about it at this point, because it's just, I think viewers are getting more and more frustrated. But I also understand from the other side of it, you have to be extra cautious in situations like this, because yes, the verdict came out. That's fine. She can probably discuss that a little bit. She's obviously going to have to talk about this body cam footage. She's gonna. I just know that it's going to get brought up because nothing was discussed. And you know, Danny, I don't know if she will actually share anything meaty in that way. It could be a lot of word salad. You know, a lot of times, you know, the word salad really gets to me. You know, they say a lot and it seems like they're giving you an answer, and then when you take a step back, you're like, you didn't say a damn thing. You know? So I don't know what to expect here. All I know is that Potomac is really trying to you know, jump on this thing, because they didn't have a lot for season 9. They didn't. And unfortunately, it looks like Mia will be getting a seat next to Andy for this reunion, because she's had the messiest storyline, and she doesn't care. She'll just air everything out. She doesn't care. She'll leave her kids with someone random at Jacqueline's house and then get mad that Gordon went to take them out of that situation to go bring them to someone he trusts. Like, stuff like that is just mind-boggling that that's the storyline we're picking up on. I get it. That's what's happening in her life. She's on the show. It's just, it's getting a bit trashy, you guys. I'm ready to see other things. But there is nothing else. Ashley has nothing going on. Wendy has nothing going on. Who else? Stacy. You guys don't even know. Stacy. I cannot wait to read this to all of you. I cannot wait. I'm telling you right now, when I get this in my hands, and I will get it in my hands, I'm going to read this out loud to you like story time. And the reason why I'm pulling that up is because this was something that was filmed for this current season of Potomac, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, they cut it out. And it has everything to do with Stacy being caught in a lie. And I did say at the beginning of this season, I'm not buying this act. I'm not buying it. Stacy's QVC overly, like, Yes. Oh, what is a stripper? Like, it's just give me a break, you know? Give me a break right now, Stacy. Like, I get it. She's funny. She brings out element. I do like some of the elements she brings. I'm not gonna lie. But she is thirsty. That's all I will say for now. Thirsty. I did give a brief overview quickly about what this whole the Cookie Crumbles Chronicles situation was, because essentially it was a bunch of text messages that Giselle and they were all reading it at Wendy's party. Here, this is from Wendy's party. But we didn't see this scene. And if you look closely, Karen on the page, it clearly is printouts of text messages, and they involve something that Stacy lied about that pertains to the show. So, and I already gave my theory around this TJ guy, because it's clear he and Stacy are band together to come up with this odd storyline that they have. You're both in it for clout and fame. You got allegedly let go from QVC. Stacy was allegedly fired from Fox 5 DC. Not for anything bad, but I'm just saying, these two met at QVC. That part is true. They are probably really friends. Do I think that Stacy's really attracted to TJ? No. No, I don't. I don't think that's her vibe. You know what I'm saying? You all know what I'm saying. I'm not going to say it. You guys say it. You guys say it all the time. I don't need to repeat it. He's not her type. Are you joking me right now? Let me tell you something. Hold on. I need some water because I... That would, to me, I just stop. I can't. It's just too much. He is not attracted to Stacy either. He doesn't even... There's their body language, you guys. No, not even. They're just good. I mean, they're not that good of actors, but they're good enough. They're moving through their storyline, if you will, which might explain as well why her husband, that she was in the process of divorcing, was like, no. You blur me out of. I'm not giving consent to be a part of this, shite show. So he was like, no. So she's like, cool. I'm gonna go with my friend TJ, who I met at QVC, and we're going to be romantically linked, except we're not, because the story changes as the season goes. So I hope that at the reunion, we can dig more into this relationship with TJ and ask the questions of, like, what is this? Listen, I get it. It's rough out here. It is rough. And I will say this. If I was not with the love of my life at this stage of life, I might find a best girlfriend and we might have a little lavender marriage. Yes, Danny, I would be totally for it. But I would be honest about it. I don't know, Lori. It seems like Potomac has stopped. Well, no, actually, Potomac is one of the only ones still that will bring, not all of them, but the ones that want to participate. I think the one that really didn't want to ever show up was Juan Dixon. I think he went to 1, 2, and he was like, I'm not doing this shit. It's just, it's wackadoodle. Danny, I'm so happy. This is it, guys. As you can see by the ticker, I have nothing else to promote. Catch me live 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. We're doing the damn thing in 2025. I already told you guys a couple episodes back. Things are shifting. I have so much that I'm going to share with you guys very shortly once I figure out how I can say it legally. because there's been some things. There's been some shifting, shedding of skin, all of that good stuff. But anyways, back into what we're here to talk about. So yes, this Potomac situation is a mess. And Jacqueline, I don't think you belong on reality television, my love. Maybe on the Zeus network or VH1 or something where you have to or even, is WeTV still around? Anyways, so best of luck to Jacqueline. Congrats again on her bundle of joy. But we need to move on because I want to talk about the Scheana Shay of it all. Has anyone checked in on Sheena? I haven't had a chance. I've been swamped, honestly. So I haven't had an opportunity to check in on her, but I know that's a question that I keep seeing throughout all the comment sections of all the posts that I'm seeing regarding how, Vanderpump Rules being recasted. Well, Sheena's done being silent. You guys have been pressing her and pressing her and pressing her. Why haven't you said anything about James Kennedy's arrest? Why are you doing this? Are you not really friends with Allie? Do you not really see her as a friend? But you know what's funny? Let's just say, Sheena did come out immediately and make a comment. That would have obviously backfired on her because then everyone would have been like, oh my God, Sheena, you're just trying to make this about yourself again, But then she didn't post and say anything because to her point, she was trying to respect Allie, right? Her point was like, publicly, I didn't want to add to the headlines because I was respecting Allie's privacy. Were you now? Now all of a sudden you care about people's privacy. Any other time you're on your podcast talking about everything that's going on. But listen, the bigger picture here that I see an issue with is it's not that Sheena didn't speak up. It's not that, the rest of the cast has stayed pretty silent, right? Why are we protecting people like this? That's what I don't understand. And I'm looking at you, Lisa Vanderpump, because just recently, you pretended like when you were told about Kristen Doute's pregnancy, you try to throw some shade about a paternity situation, but you haven't said a thing, not even an iota about James Kennedy. That's weird. It's just ridiculous. And I'm not here to judge Allie either. That's why I haven't really touched on it. I didn't touch on her moving out finally because thankfully she did. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't care. I like that to me means that there's issues. And I will say, I've listened to different accounts of that night at Kathy Hilton's DirecTV Christmas party. And shout out to Heather McDonald. I was listening to Heather McDonald Juicy Scoop, and she was giving, her experience because she was there. And she mentioned how, like, at one point in the night, James Kennedy was talking to her and her friend, and I don't recall her friend's name, but he was she basically was like, how are you doing? With the whole recasting thing and, yada, yada, yada. And he just went on about how, he's doing all these great things. He's got, this DJ thing that he's doing. And he basically was just listing out all the things that would seemingly make you not feel any type of way for the fact that he's not going to be on this show anymore. But Heather's friend pointed out to Heather that she felt that he was just being like a bragger. You know what I mean? But like Heather didn't see anything go down because I don't think this happened at the party, obviously. I am more in line with Heather's theory is that this took place on the way home. And then perhaps when, when you're like, I don't want to say, do you know when you're fighting with your boyfriend, he's about to throw you on the ground? I meant to say, do you know when you've ever gone out with a boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, and you've had a night out and something goes wrong on the way home and it's stupid and you're now in an argument, okay? I feel like it was that, but I'm pretty sure it was a very intense situation, and it was probably when they were getting out of the Uber or whatever, walking into the house. And obviously, this isn't the first time this has happened, right? Neighbors typically don't get involved unless they really are put in a situation, in my view, because yeah, you might hear screaming and stuff, but if you can't really hear what's going on, then people are arguing. But if you hear something, let's say someone was outside, maybe they were taking something out to the garbage, I don't know. Maybe the neighbor was coming back from the Kathy Hilton Direct TV party. I don't know. Anyways, the point is a neighbor heard something going on and it made them feel uncomfortable enough so that they wanted to make sure that they could sleep with a clean conscience and called the police to do a check. Totally normal. And then we find out that Allie on the police report told the police that, yeah, he grabbed me and he threw me to the ground, essentially, which is why he got arrested. So the statement that James Kennedy's lawyer came out with shortly after to say, like, oh, we're looking into these like DV charge, like, it's on the police report. I don't understand. She said it. So clearly she's moved out. But Scheana Shay, she also explained that she has been in communication with Allie. She checks in on her. She has been checking in on her. But because everyone has been breathing down her neck about not speaking up, she found that this was the moment to do so. So she essentially said that no, she doesn't approve of this behavior. And she actually said that James needs to really get some real help. And I agree that he has a lot of trauma. And I'm sure it's all based from like family stuff and his upbringing. But nonetheless, James is an adult now. So if he doesn't take care of this now, this DJ stuff, all of these opportunities will get taken away from you. It will. We're in a different time now. People don't care. They're not going to put up with crap. They're not going to look at what's happening with Diddy. Look what's happening with other things. People are waking up to BS. And so my point here is that if James Kennedy wants any longevity in this entertainment like industry, he's got to clean it up. Specifically, if you're going to be in environments where you're around alcohol, substances, people who party, that gets to people after a while. You could be good for a good while. There are people that have quit smoking for 20 years, and then something goes awry, and they're in the wrong place at the right time, and someone offers them a ciggy, and then here you go, driving down Runyon Canyon now, blasting Alanis Morissette, smoking Marlboro Lights. That's what I'm saying. I hope you guys got where I was going with that. My point is he shouldn't be in environments if he's not strong enough in his sobriety or whatever, California sobriety, whatever he's practicing. I feel like Allie moving out was a good idea. I do. I think they need to separate. I think James needs to focus on himself right now. And listen, Allie's young. She is fresh. She is talented. She has so much going for her. I would really hope that she's not going to just let that all go out the side door because she's going to stand by someone who's going to feed her a bunch of BS lines. And this could happen again. It could. And it probably would. So there you have it. But thank you, Sheena, for finally speaking out. Now I'm wondering, why hasn't Andy said anything? Why hasn't Lisa addressed this? Lisa Vanderpump, but she can address Kristen Doute's pregnancy in such a shady, disgusting way. Why are we playing this game? Why are we protecting people that shouldn't be protected? Kristen Doute's been talking about the James Kennedy of it all for a while. It's like, I don't get it. But it is what it is, I guess, you know? Certain people can just get away with things, but I do believe things are shifting. And yes, Sheena also did say that the cast, the men outside of Brock, took the news about Vanderpump Rules the hardest, which is funny to me because I think a lot of people would have assumed the women on the cast would have, because like, you're looking at Lala, you're looking at Sheena, but Sheena says she's not bothered. She wasn't even shocked. I mean, how could you be? But she's not worried. And she says that, she did feel like they still had story to tell, but now they'll just have to tell it somewhere else. It just better not be on the Valley. I am strongly against it. You guys can come on as friends and be in it, but you guys better not be no full-time cast members, because no. No. That cast is fine the way it is. Do not mess with the Valley. Do not. That cast is fine. We don't need a Sheena. We don't need a Lala. No. Like I said, they can come on as friends, hang out, fill up the room. I get it. But we don't need their storylines to cross over onto a new show that already established themselves very well on their own. So much so that we all were really pissed off by the end of the season when there was no reunion. So let's hope that changes for season 2. And by the way, when are we getting season 2? Because I know it's going to be juicy and it's going to be good. Oh, man. So much going on. Let's go through the chat. Yes, Lori, I agree. It's a yawn fest. It's a yawn fest. Well, I don't know. All I know is this week is always such a blur for me, the week in between the new year or whatever, because no one's really in the mood to do anything, let's be honest. Are any of you guys actually getting anything done this week? It's such a dead space. I mean, there's so much to do, but it's like I feel like I'm moving in like slow motion. But anyways, yeah. Well, I mean, that's all I had to talk about today, guys. I know it's not a lot, but there's also not too much going on. Southern Charm, I'm still catching up on. I've missed it, so I'm catching up. So I will revert back. Ask me on Monday, Lori, my thoughts. If you join, because I'll have been caught up by then. And what else can we discuss? I think that's pretty much all I've got. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that slipped through the cracks for me this morning. Oh, this isn't like a big topic, but I did see it and I kind of appreciate it. But Kim Zolciak, and if I've stopped discussing this because it's such a it's such a shit show with all the police cam footage that keeps coming out, blah blah blah. But I guess finally they have to get out of that house, right? And so I was on TikTok and I saw yesterday actually that Ariana, Kim Zolciak's daughter, she made a TikTok of it being like her last moments in the house before she finally leaves. Or it was like her last Christmas in her childhood home. And one thing I will say is that she has been very open about this whole thing. And I think she's had a very good attitude talking about it, because she's clearly living and dealing with it and reading everything and seeing everything we're seeing, except that's actually her mom and her stepfather that are involved. So, when she posted the video, I didn't think anything of it. I mean, it's not her fault that Kim and Croy couldn't get their finances in order. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not taking a piss at the daughters because they want to share their last moments in a house that they did grow up in. But then I saw that people were going in after her for posting it and be like, that's not even your child home. The townhouse was your child home. What? Okay. Well, if we're going to really be a stickler for that, yes, you're right. That was her childhood home as well. But I think two things can be true. She was 11 years old when she moved into this house. So she's still a child. She grew up in that house as well. So I think she's allowed to say her childhood home. And I think she's allowed to share the feelings she has around it, whatever they are. I'm sure they're bittersweet. But I don't know what is going to happen with those two. And nor do I care really, because I think it's all just so crazy at this point that they're still fighting over handbags and being locked out of a bedroom, or someone's got my phone, and like we're wasting police officers' times and taxpayer dollars for them to keep coming out to a residence just to hear two people screaming about an iPhone or a pair of shoes or a pair of whatever. So those poor children, honestly, it sucks for them. I can't even imagine what that must be like. All the trauma and anxiety they must be suffering from the chaos. It's sad. Yeah, I think that's all I got for you guys today. Unfortunately, I wish I had more, but I will have more because next week is a new week. I know yesterday when we were closing out on the episode, we were discussing the drone situation. I'm literally on this, like, I'm like almost where Bethany is, minus getting a driver to take me to go see one in real life. But a lot of you guys are DMing me funny story, not funny, but like it was crazy that so many of you that are in that New Jersey, New York, Long Island area were DMing me some crazy stories last night about what you guys have been seeing, and it is crazy. Hi, Adam. Yes, I touched on a little bit of it yesterday, but today I did touch on the fact that PK is basically insinuating that there's no, at this point, that he doesn't see him and Dorit getting back together, and that his sobriety is his main focus. Sorry, maybe I didn't say that yet. Well, I'm saying it now. Yes, he's not appreciating Dorit's summary of who he was towards the tail end of his marriage. He didn't like it at all. He also regrets joining the show because he feels like if they hadn't joined the show, that perhaps Dorit and PK would still be together. But I do not understand for the life of me why PK thinks that she's not allowed to get, it's like he kept saying, like, she said this, that's not true. She said this, that's not true. Maybe to you it's not true because maybe you don't want to accept that that's what it was, but from her angle, that is her perception. And guess what? Perception is reality. So if that was her reality when you were belligerently drunk all the time, arguing, you want her to just what? Keep protecting you when you were a mess? And I'm sorry, but like, yes, good for you and your sobriety, but like, stop shoving it down her throat. You chose to do all that and you took the charge. You also were the one to call it quits in that let's separate. It wasn't her idea. So what do you want from her? And here's the other thing, and I think people have talked about this until the cows have come home, and still people just take the chance of going on a show with their spouse, partner, whatever, and they're not ready for what's to come. They're not ready for the attention, the microscope. They're not. But they still do it because they think, oh, we can just fake it. No. You can fake it for a little bit, but eventually it all comes to the light, you know? And I think for Dorit, she's telling her truth. And I don't think maybe the way she's delivering it isn't great, you know, because PK's like, well, my mom called me and said, why is she saying these things? Well, this is what we signed up for, Mom. So now we're going to put the blame on Dorit because she's doing her job. Also, it's also very clear because it's clear that when she would do her interviews in the past seasons, he obviously would know what she would be saying. This time around, not the case. So he's like, whoa, a full-blown alcoholic? That's not nice. Well, it probably wasn't nice that you traumatized her because you were wanting to go be a party boy and go hang out at Boy George's hotel instead of spending time at home trying to fix your marriage. Why? Because you can't tell someone when Dorit says you didn't support me after the break-in, you don't get to turn around and say, yes, I did. That's not for you to say. You can feel you did. You can feel you supported her. But was it the support that she actually needed, or was it the support that you felt like giving her before you told her she was just pulling antics because, she's taking this whole PTSD thing too far? You guys remember that conversation where he basically was gaslighting her, like, are you really traumatized? Like, what do you want? It sounds like you just want someone to be on your arm all the time and put up with all your crap and cover for you, make you look good, all while you sit in the back and do a bunch of BS, drink, party, do whatever. Now you're on the sobriety train, which again, good for you. But what does that have to do with Dorit? I'm confused. Why are we putting it back on her? You made this decision. So you thinking you may not get back together? I mean, who's to say that she would even want to get back together with you? Fame does change people. Specifically insecure ones. So you guys wanted this. You guys desperately sought a place on this show. So there you have it. There you have it. Happy Friday, everyone. I do want to share something really fun. If you guys are following me on Instagram, then you know, I put out some bops. Don't even get me started. I do it for fun because I love it. I love writing. I'm a storyteller. So I write, I have ideas for so many songs. Not all of them are great, but I am coming out with, hold on, let me get it up. I want to show you the cover because I'm really proud of it. Oh, this is where everyone logs off. No one cares. All right. I'm coming out with an EDM opera album called Night at the EDM Opera. Basically, I was inspired by the Paris and Nicole reunion. It's not a reunion. It was called the Encore. But basically, I was inspired because the premise of that 3-episode special was Paris and Nicole trying to turn Sana Sa into an opera, and they did. And so I was like, wow, opera music's actually kind of cool. So I started playing around with stuff. I'm not saying I invented the mix of opera and EDM. I'm just saying, like, I was just playing with stuff and I was like, oh, this is fun. So anyways, that will be coming in January. So look for that anywhere you stream music. What else? As you can see by the ticker, you will now be catching me here live on YouTube every day, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are able to join, thank you. I'd love that. The more the merrier. If not, you can always catch the replay here on YouTube. And if you love these lives, obviously, please go ahead and hit the notification bell so you know when I am going live. But if you guys want to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. It does help me here on YouTube. And I'm in the middle of getting back into YouTube's good graces because I've been off this whole platform for way too long. But anyways, enough of that rambling. I just want to close out and say I hope you guys had an amazing holiday week and are continuing to enjoy the week before the year comes to a close. I want to say I love you guys more than you know, and I appreciate everything that you guys show up for, and like just your messages. You're just phenomenal people as a collective, and I can't be more grateful. So thank you so much, because I know life's crazy right now and everyone's got a lot of stuff going on. So for this, for the hour, 45 minutes that we spend together where we can just kind of escape that, I truly appreciate it. So thank you. And if you're not following me on TikTok, go ahead and follow me. It's at Giorgio Says. And if that gets banned, head on over to my Instagram, because I'm not going anywhere. So yes, let's close out on that. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. And I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye, guys.
We need to talk about this. Every rumor, every twist on the Giorgio Says podcast. We need to talk about So hit that play, stay in the know. Giorgio's here to steal the show on the Giorgio Says podcast. We need